All right, let's move on to another section of this. Now, 32 more people have died in England after testing positive for the coronavirus, taking the total number of deaths in the UK to 104. The British government has announced that schools will be closed on Friday. However, it's adamant that exams will take place as planned in May and June. The country's biggest festival at Glastonbury has been cancelled. For more on this, we're joined by our correspondent, Stuart Smith. Very good evening to you, Stuart. Thanks indeed for your time. So what is the response at this time from the government there? We're looking at a rise in the number of those confirmed to have the virus at an alarming figure, rising at an alarming figure.
Yes. It's a rise of, indeed, 30 people, taking the number of cases to above 100 now for the first time. The government has stopped trying to diagnose mild cases of the virus. So although official figures say 2,600 are infected, it's estimated by the chief science officer that it's closer to around 55,000 infected people in the country. The aim right now, the chief medical officer saying, is not to stop the virus spreading, it's to make it spread at a rate which is manageable. It's keeping it going, but allowing the health units and the National Health Service to cope as it spreads.
Very much like here in South Africa, schools have been closed. I heard you say a bit earlier on that schools have also been closed in that country. What other measures are being put in place currently to contain the spread of the coronavirus?
Well, the measures are mostly advisory. It's recommending people stay at home if they have symptoms, making sure that people stay at home if their flatmates or their people sharing their homes have symptoms. And it's asking people not to attend events or go to restaurants, places with mass gatherings of people. And like you said, we've heard from a lot of event organisers, they've taken the initiative. The government hasn't asked them to stop, but they've taken the initiative not to host certain events, such as the Glastonbury Festival, a huge highlight for any festival goer in Britain every summer. And it was to be its 50th anniversary year. So it's a big change to the festival schedule this year.
Paint a picture for us of what's happening on the ground, Stuart. Is there a lot of panic? Because certainly around the world, as the numbers continue to rise, various governments around the world are obviously handling this situation depending on the level of threat in their country. So what is the situation on the ground from the people there?
Well, in terms of supermarkets, the level of panic is probably greatest, as in we have seen panic buying and buying of items which aren't necessarily going to help with the virus, such as toilet paper and long life milk. And that sort of thing is considered unnecessary. The government is saying you do not need to be stockpiling. Supermarkets are saying we have all of the products you need, just please don't take all of them in one go, and have started to regulate how many items shoppers can take in one go. And I'd say the other area of panic a little bit relates to why the UK is not doing the same things that other countries are doing. Still, all of the advice is still advice. It's not mandatory. There are not police on the streets. And it's only today that we've seen schools close, when schools closed much earlier in the week for many different countries around Europe.
Well, South Africa are obviously having the UK as one of the countries on that high risk. And we heard the president of our country here in South Africa indicating that flights to your country would be banned. Has there been any response about some of the directions that other countries are taking towards keeping themselves safe?
Well, no measures yet from the UK end stopping people coming into the country, but there are rules now about British citizens leaving the country. The government has advised, again, not enforced, but advised people not to travel to other countries for a month, for 30 days. And that is to try and make sure that people do not end up requiring to be flights home from countries which suddenly enforce lockdown measures. So it's all about trying to keep people in the UK so that they require less assistance from outside. But nothing yet in terms of like some European countries where they have closed borders. Nothing like that.
SABC News correspondent Stuart Smith joining us from the UK there. Thank you very much indeed for your time tonight. And very much like there in South Africa as well, we're seeing those scenes of panic buying as well.